welcome back to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holton. Today I have another cowgirl with me. Woo! Her name is Gina Kuda. Okay? What a cool name. 4 letters. Gina is Gina and Kuda is Kuda. All right, so Gina, tell us about your business.
All right. Well, my business is I own a ranch in Russellville, Missouri. I raise black Limousin cattle. We're not a huge operation, but we're definitely not tiny. And I don't know, that's pretty much what we do.
Okay, so Gina's been here, and she was like, Brandy, I see you doing all this social media stuff, and I need some help. Okay, so Gina reached out to me, and I was like, yeah, sure, most definitely. That's what I do. I love doing that. That's actually one of my personal life goals, is to be able to help 1,000 people. Like, you are one of my 1,000, okay? So Gina now has a website that's called Kuda Limousin Ranch. Okay, so for me, it took me forever to be able to spell limousine, because it's not spelled the same way as like a car limousine. Okay, so for these, you chose limousine. So tell me why you chose that breed of cattle.
Well, when I was first introduced to limousine, I worked for a veterinary clinic, and I was exposed to a lot of different breeds of cattle. And I noticed right away when the limousine breed would walk in, because they just had a presence about them. They had the definition, the muscling, the booty. I love seeing big booties on cattle.
Like a big old AQHA horse, like a big quarter horse butt. There's a big old limousine cattle butt. Right.
Okay. And then just their docility. I mean, they were just easier to work with. And that was the first thing I noticed about them. And then the more I watched them and the more I started researching, the more and more I liked what I was reading and seeing about them. And it just grew from there. I mean, I had to own them. I had to start, that's what was my registered breed that I decided to get serious about.
Okay. So I have learned so much about Gina over the last couple of days, because she's been here for 2 days. She took advantage of my 2-day in-person coaching, but I learned that she's a first-generation cattle rancher. Her and her husband are. So first of all, let's back up. Tell me about this husband. How long have you been married? Tell me about your kiddos.
So my husband and I, we've been married, let me think here.
Since
93. So it'll be creeping up on 31 years.
Okay.
We have 2 boys, and, they are grown. I mean, there are, we have to think for a minute, 28, because one just turned 28, and the other one is 26.
Okay.
And one lives close by, and one lives in Kansas City. It's interesting is that both of them work on, what do I want to say, like the hearts of things, like my younger son, he helps surgeons work on hearts with people, the stents, the balloons. And then my older son, he works on the hearts of cars, so he's a mechanic.
Oh, okay.
So very, both of them are very well in their job. They do very well in their jobs. I'm very proud of them.
What sports did they play in high school?
Actually, my oldest one was not. He was more into the mechanic and engineering kind of industry.
Okay. So he was a math elite.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And then Seth, he was baseball. His favorite.
Your youngest son was a baseball player?
Mm-hmm.
What sports did you play in high school?
I didn't. So I grew up with our family. I'm one of 7. Mm-hmm. And my parents said, we don't have time to take you to games.
Yeah. Well, with 7 kids, I mean, there's not enough time between groceries and laundry and just trying to put food on the table. The rest of that stuff, it is a game. It's a sport at the end of the day, and they were probably just having to make sure that they got lights on and food down the hatch.
Right.
Well, in high school, I was a hurdler.
Oh, wow.
You'd think I'd be a ground hugger. but I was a hurdler, and then I did some softball early on, and before that I was in band. I played the trumpet. Were you in band?
No.
No band? No choir?
No.
Girl, you were working. You were having to come home and work.
And that's what we did. I mean, my dad was a crop farmer, but we did have cattle and hogs because there were 7 of us, so we had to raise everything that we could eat. And so,
what kind of row crops did he do?
He did corn, soybeans, wheat, milo. I think that was about it.
Okay. Yep. My dad, we were real close to the Red River around Texas, so he was actually a rice farmer.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people think he would be Asian, and I'm like, no. No, there's rice farmed in the United States, know. So like my dad was a rice farmer, and then he did soybeans and cattle. And then the thing that took my family away from being a row cropper was in Texas we had 3 years of drought in a row, that just devastated him. Yeah. So then he went into being a semi-truck driver after that, and he was gone on the road. So. All right, so were you just driving tractors and
Yeah, so my job when I was younger was to take care of the herd, and that's, I'd ride my horse out there, I'd find new calf, and actually I was banding the calves as soon as they were born, so I turned them into steers, and then, we were out in the field, whatever Dad needed us to do, so we were either pulling weeds or, out of the bean fields, walking the bean fields, or, driving the tractor.
Okay. So. Well, you know what? I have so many different people that tune into my podcast because it's a 3 combination of topics we have. I have people that are in the equine industry. Well, cattle is equine, close to it. I mean, it's not equine, but you have horses also, but usually those things go pair and pair. And then I have a business owner, which you're also in the business owner, and then I have myself talking about a topic. Well, you and I have been acquaintances and friends for quite some time because you've done horse stuff here and you've come in trail road, and we used to host AHCA, the American Horsemen's Challenge Association, and I see that you've got pictures of you doing that with your horse and obstacles. But I know you've got a heart horse right now, like a horse that is, it's got your heart. So tell us about your heart horse.
Well, he is an American paint horse. I bought
him. What's his name?
His official name is Jose Manucos Cutter, but I just call him Cutter. It's just so easier.
Yeah.
But anyways, I had bought him as a yearling. I've had him. He'll be 23. Yeah, he'll be 23 this year. And he is probably the only second horse I've owned that has had my heart. He's special. I mean, him and I just connect really well, and I just hate to think to have to ever replace him.
Oh,
I don't know if that'll ever happen.
So I've got KTM, and I got his mother when I was 8 years old, and now he is 19, but I don't think he's going to have a long, long life, that, because he's got a long back, and I don't know, and he seems like he's aging fast on me, and I'm like, no, slow down, little buddy, slow down.
I hate to lose him.
Oh, we do. I mean, like, our horses are part of the family. I mean, I had his mother before I had boobs, before I had to shave, you know what I mean? Like, I've had his mom for a long time, and to think that KTM is her last baby. I wrote a children's book about him, and his book, the main theme is about how having, it's about how one person can make a difference, and about how one horse can make a difference, So, I mean, look at my husband and I have a horse trail riding facility. It's called Von Holten Ranch. And my passion for horses came from KTM's mother. So Silk Chick, her name was Silk Chick Long, and I called her Silk Chick. And, Silk Chick just put this passion for equine in me, to the point that we have this trail riding facility. Like, my life directed me towards having this trail facility because of that love that I had for that horse. So, like, they're part of who we are, So you have the horse. Do you have any dogs or anything? Any cats? Tell us all about all your animals.
Oh, goodness. So I do. I have 3 dogs. One is she'd be, I think, 14 this year. She was a rescue. She's a little, some kind of a mixed breed terrier. If she was a big dog, she'd be scary. And she tries to do it all. She tries to help us herd and everything else. For a little 15-pound dog, she's just like...
She's in charge.
Yeah, she is. She's something else.
Yeah.
And then I have a Aussie Doodle, a standard Aussie Doodle, and she just loves everybody. I mean, she is like the best dog. She was great for when my husband was going through cancer. I mean, she just wanted to love on him, and that's what he needed. And then the newest addition is a little miniature Australian Shepherd. She's a pistol. She's she's something else. She's got a personality all her own.
Girl, you seen my dog over here? She's fat and sassy, and I have to deworm that dog once a month because she won't stop eating rabbits.
Oh.
I'm like, girlfriend,
Yeah.
I can't help her lose weight. Because if I limit dog food, she's just going to get another rabbit. And I'm actually proud of her because she's so fat. I can't believe she can catch them. And I'm just like, go ahead, girl. I love you. Yeah, showing that chubby animals and can catch things like rabbits.
Yeah.
So, okay, so tell us now this cattle operation. Okay, so my husband and I have bought 2 bulls from you. We had Gambler, and then you can't keep a bull for forever because if you want to keep your heifers, you can't have daddy and sister doing
Or daddy and daughter. Yeah,
daddy and daughter. That's what I meant. Can't have daddy and daughter doing things. Okay,
Right.
So we end up having to get another bull. So we had Gambler, and now we have Cade. Okay, so we're on our second bull from you. And my husband loves them, okay, because before we bought your bulls, we had a bull that would attack us. I mean, my husband, he had carpal tunnel surgery, and he was sprinting. He had to use that cast to hold on to the top rail of a fence and slingshot himself over because that bull was trying to smear him into the ground, okay? So my husband's like, we need a gentler bull. We need something that is docile. But then in addition to it having a good disposition, we want those babies to have a low birth weight because it's easier to come on out of mama. And it's but then after they're born small, we need them to go ahead and get big.
That's right.
Because they're sold by the pound.
That's right.
So we need a lot of pounds. So we found Gina, and we knew you from horse competitions, and you were coming here, and then my husband's like, I think that this one's halter broke, and we know you don't halter break all of them, but he's like, we'd seen that you had been taking them to some shows. We didn't even care what show you went to. We just liked that you took them somewhere. So you got this big old animal that you're leading into a trailer, so tell us about the genetics and some of the programs and if they're registered. So tell us all. It's time to shine, okay? I want you to tell us the shiny parts of your business.
All right. So the like I said earlier, the Limousin breed has the muscling in it. So that does just muscle weighs more than fat. So it really so it really is more pounds that you can put on these calves is going to pay you more in the end. So I wanted to with my bulls, I wanted to get out and I wanted to expose them because they've always say that anybody can have the best thing in the world, but if nobody knows that you have them because you're not getting out, then it's not doing any good.
Right. So you're showing just to get your
name
bulls
out there.
known and people being, so the ribbons mean something because you're out being exposed and those people at the competitions and the pictures you're taking for social media, it gives you content to talk about and then people are getting to meet you.
Right. So I wanted to take bulls out, I wanted to get them exposed. And so the only way you can do that is by halter breaking them. So I start halter breaking them when they're weanlings. And I mean, they're 600-700 pounds when I start doing that. Yeah. So it takes not a lot of time, but a little bit of time.
So if you could think about halter breaking a sumo wrestler for the first time in your life, that's not small. That's big.
Yeah, that's
so
big.
you're like, okay, let me get them while they're little.
Right, right, yeah, because I really don't want to start, when they're 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds,
right.
a lot bigger. I don't want to do that, but it helped by halter breaking them. I've noticed that as they got older, it was just easier and easier to work with them. So, I like going through the cattle chute, they're quiet of going into their chute. They are taking their, getting their vaccinations with ease. They're not making a big fuss. They're just a lot easier to work around. So, makes it easier or safer, so to speak, I guess, for the next owner. Because like David, I'd hate.
And my husband's name is David.
Yeah, so I don't want David to be chased out of the pen. So
right. With a cast on his arm, trying to not die.
Right. That's horrifying, and I've seen that a lot in my lifetime. Of working for a veterinary clinic. Of cattle chasing you, and I'm like, I don't want that.
Well, we know of personal. We've had personal friends that got smashed in trailers. We've had cattle farmers that their father died from being stepped on by getting smashed. Like, this is a real deal. So, like, we understand that halter breaking them, you're not guaranteeing that that they're not going to be a bull, because they're still a bull, but you're just trying to make them it's kind of like, I have a dragon and I have halter broke the dragon, but it's still a dragon.
That's right.
Yeah, it's still a bull.
Right.
So what kind of registrations do they have?
So they all are registered. All of them are. All my Limousin cattle are registered. I do still have a few commercial cows, but which are not papered. But I am with the North American Limousin Association or Foundation.
Foundation, yeah.
So, and then I'm also with the Missouri Limousin Breeders Association, which is the Missouri Limousin is all the breeders in Missouri.
Okay.
That kind of get together, and we have a sale once a year.
Okay.
To help each other. All of us are trying to, get more Limousin out to people's hands. Because it's kind of a what's the term I want to use, but it's kind of a kept secret. It seems like
most people just think Angus. Right. And the Angus Breed Association has done a wonderful job of making people love Angus.
Yeah, they've done a great job marketing.
They have. Well, in the Limousin, they look like linebackers.
Right.
They're just like, boom, I'm swole. They're just walking around swole. It's a wonderful breed.
And they cross really well with the Angus breed. They call them the Limflexes. So, and they are registerable. So, but the Limousin breed itself can cross very well with other breeds.
Girl, it's crossing very well with all of our stuff, because the only thing we have registered out there is the bull from you. The rest of our ain't nothing registered out in our herd. We got a yard sale. We got a yard sale going on in our cattle pasture, but we keep the mamas that produce well, and then we get rid of the ones that don't, and we love our herd. It's small but mighty. So
there's a big breeder in another state that breeds them to dairy cows, to Holsteins.
Okay.
And the reason why they do that is because the Limousin breed can put more muscle on those milk cows, on the dairy breed, because they don't have, the muscling.
Well, and people don't realize how much beef comes from the dairy industry, because the boys are not making milk. Okay. No. So we are consuming all of the boys from the dairy farms for beef, so like that's actually very smart on their part. Tell us about the Missouri Cattlemen's Association.
So the Missouri Cattlemen's Association, I'm involved with that. I have been a past board member in that. So they are always out promoting promoting beef, helping the cattlemen in the area. They're also at the Capitol building, fighting for all of us ranchers and farmers. It's a good organization to be involved with.
Yeah. You know what? I think the world that we're trying to live in are trying to get us to eat beef that's grown in a lab. And I'm sorry, but beef is made in a pasture. Okay? Yep. Like, no. That right there is a whole podcast interview all by itself, but I don't want anything to do with that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So, you take, there's another association that you deal with. Well, I don't know if it's an association, but it's a program, and it's called the Show Me Select. So tell us about Show Me is because Missouri is the Show Me state.
Correct.
So tell us all about the Show Me Select.
So the Show Me Select program was something that we got involved in. It's been, I think, 4 years now. There again, looking for ways to promote the Limousin breed. And we went to a few Show Me Select sales to kind of see what it's all about. That's the main thing, you want to do is, at least I do, is I go see something before I put myself out there, So we went to go see some of the sales, and some of the sales were majority Angus. So we're like, okay, well, we need to get, our Limousin breed out there because, it's going to help their Angus breed. It's going to put more pounds, on them Angus, to help with sales.
So tell us in general, what are some criteria? Because that right there is like trying to be the cream of the crop, right? The Show Me Select. So tell me about some of the criteria that they have.
So the
and I know you're not a spokesman or a spokeswoman for them, so just in general.
Sure. So the Show Me Select, what their main goal is to have a quality heifer that will have a calf and raise that calf. I mean, that was their main goal. I mean, their main goal is to have, low birth weight is a criteria, that the bulls have to be, there's a specific number that these bulls have to be on calving ease, and then also, enhanced, genomically enhanced. And then, they have to, but that's their main goal is for a quality heifer to have a low birth weight calf and to be able to raise that calf and breed back.
Okay. So it's all about the future and and not passing down bad genes,
right.
Because you don't want a calf that comes out weighing 250 pounds or nothing like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pushing. All the girls out there that just heard me say that are like,
right.
There's not one mama in the world that wants to have a 250-pound baby.
Right.
Right. I mean, maybe a well that's the size of a bus,
Yeah.
And then I bet she'd still be like, it can't weigh 200. She'd probably still want it to be smaller.
Right. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what do you feed? Or do you have special grasses? What do you do for your pasture management?
Sure. So we do rotational grazing. That is a huge benefit when it's drought. That's when you're going to see the best benefit of having rotational grazing. So it's very important to do that. Also, I worked with Stover Mill is one I worked with as far as nutrition, of talking to them, telling them, what my goals are. And so they, work with the nutritionist there to help, reach the goals that I'm looking for.
Okay. So let's talk about crazy stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So what has been, have all of your, I don't know, tell me some crazy stuff in general. I don't even know what to ask you.
Well, when I started to work at the veterinary clinic, we work at the clinic, we probably 50% of it was large animals. So, it's exposed to a large animal a lot. There was a lot of things that I saw that I've never seen before in my life, and one of them that comes to mind, we had to do a C-section on a cow because it was, there's a scientific name for it, but it's basically an inside-out calf.
Oh, okay.
Never saw anything like that
like
in my
the
life.
organs were outside of the body?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like somebody just turned this calf inside out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing I ever saw. When they pulled it out, from the C-section, it looked like
something happened.
Alien pod or something, something really freaky. But then when you start to cut it open, then we can see that there was a calf that was just turned inside out.
Smart. Girl, we have seen some things here. Like my mule this year had an abscess in a tooth, and it made the tooth grow through his jaw, and it broke his jaw. Had to have that tooth removed. So that happened, and then a couple of years back, I had a horse that I had bred, and she had twins, but we even had her ultrasounded, and you couldn't tell because they were perfectly lined up. So that right there I was like, what? Because one of them went ahead and came on out, and then we took her to the vet to just get her cleaned out, make sure everything was fine. Then there was another baby in there, but it didn't make it. So anyways, that's about the weirdest things that we have seen with our trail riding facility. You know, the stuff that we see, like some of the like accidents and things like that, are just you know, things that you wouldn't expect, like a person that wore a helmet every time. He forgot to put his helmet on, and then his friend was going to hand him the helmet, and then the horse was like, "What is trying to attack me?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "What is wrong with you?"
Right,
you know,
right.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, and then crazy accidents before. I had a lady that she had gotten hurt, and you know what it was? It was the simplest thing. She went to get on, and a lot of times people, when they've got one leg in the stirrup, but when that horse moves, and the horse just took like one step forward, but then she ended up coming back, and my goodness, that just wrecked her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the most simple thing sometimes will mess people up.
Mm-hmm.
We had a horse one time that we have an obstacle association called Country Tough Trail Versatility, and we don't allow people to walk on tarps. Okay. Well, I had a clinician here one time, and they were practicing just like desensitizing, and they did have a tarp. And this horse got that tarp stuck underneath its hoof.
Oh, no.
Well, then something's chasing it. Oh, my gosh. We look like bowling pins. All of the horses were like, I'm out of here. I mean, my horse did like a complete 360. I about came off, and like it was just rough, and it was like some basic stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Anyways,
Things can happen. I mean, accidents happen. I mean, it's
yeah.
like the other day I was, feeding the cattle with the skid steer and the hay forks, and I stepped off the skid steer and I banged my knee so bad. No matter amount of rubbing or walking, I wanted to vomit because it hurt so bad. But things happen because I was like, what in the world happened there?
Well, I'll tell you, as an aging cowgirl, like a lot of people that know me, I've done competitive fighting. Like I've fought in 5 countries as a heavyweight. So I've done a lot of banging, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like before, that's what I moved to this state for, was I was trying to go to the Olympics as a heavyweight fighter. And, I mean, I have fought some chicks that was like 6'6", and,
wow.
I mean, and I'm actually a very short heavyweight, but I'm a mean and aggressive heavyweight, so it works out, right? Girl, all that damage that I've done and all that, I've never gotten seriously injured with knees or hips or anything like that. Girl, I turned my desk chair and hit my knee on the freaking leg of my table. Oh my gosh, it wrecked me. I thought I was going to have to be on a cane. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I had a friend before that was in the roofing industry. All of that time on these steep freaking grades of roof, and then they were on top of an air conditioner and just went to jump down. An air conditioner is only like belly button high.
Right.
Blew out his knee, hurt, man. Like crushed some of his vertebrae, and I was like, man. Dude. He was like, I can't believe I spent a life on top of a roof,
right?
And this air conditioner took me out,
right?
And so that's the way I felt about the desk. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This thing, I mean, like that leg ended up getting way weaker. And then I had to do almost like a year of trying to get that leg strengthened because I had babied it. And then the muscle had went away.
Atrophied, yeah.
Like I don't like getting older.
Yeah. No, things hurt. It seems to hurt more.
Oh, the recovery time is so freaking slow.
Yeah.
So you're pretty buff. So tell us about some things that you do. Because you work out in the gym, or you do Jen's Get Fit group, right?
I do Jen's Get Fit, and perfect program for me because I like to lift weights. And the reason why I lift weights and do that program is so I can continue to do what I do on the farm. Because I'm lifting, hay bales, I'm lifting, buckets of feed and water. And
you're manhandling 1,800-pound bulls.
Right. Well, not quite that big, but yeah. I am. I mean, I'm manhandling, animals that are a lot bigger than I am. And I want to be able to continue to do that. So I've got to exercise, to be able to continue to do that so I can recover. If I do get, pull something, I recover faster.
Right. Well, every female needs to be working on muscle.
Yes.
I mean, I think if you are over 35 and you have not started some kind of training, not just walking, all that. You've got to have muscle.
Right.
I mean, we're not talking about, you don't have to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay?
Right.
Plus you wouldn't. But, diet is how you lose weight, but exercising is how you look good naked. If you don't know that, I'm just going to go ahead and let you know. That's a secret right there.
Yeah.
So what are some of the shows that you take some of your animals to?
So I'll be getting ready for the Cattleman's Field Day in June. That's kind of a big deal. That is a precursor to the state fair. So that's kind of the start for the ones that are going to be at the state fair. I don't compete at the state fair because I just don't want to be spending a week to up there. Time is just a lot of time. So, but we'll be at the field day in June. And
how long does it take you to prep for that? Like 3 months?
You've got to be thinking, 6 months ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
6 months. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the ones I'm going to be taking are weaning, so they're weaning right now, but I've already had them picked out, at a young age that you guys are going to be going to the state, to the field day. So now they're weaned. I'm already prepping them. I'm already speeding up the process, of getting them halter broke and, getting them going and ready for that field day, because it just takes a little time to get them used to everything. And then after the field day, then we usually hit the, county fair. We like to get out in front of the locals. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we go down to Springfield, Missouri, to the Farm Fest.
Okay.
So we'll spend a few days down there. 3
big things then.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, so you have the field day, then you have your local one, which was that Montauk County?
Correct.
Okay, and then you have Ozark Fest. Is that what
Farm Fest?
Farm Fest that's in Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people don't realize how much prep work is done in anything.
Right.
Okay, like I got picked up as a presenting clinician this year for the Midwest Horse Fair, and there's like 65,000 people at that, and I'm doing 8 1-hour-long presentations over mounted archery with my mule, and 5 of them is an hour of me actually shooting. Okay, well, it's a thumb release. Most people that do archery, it's a 2 or a 3 finger draw. This is actually a thumb release, and it's a Korean recurve. It doesn't have a shelf. It's a whole new world.
Right.
Don't you dare close your eyes. That's what I feel like whenever I have to explain it to people. Is it makes me think of that Aladdin song where they're flying around on the rug. It makes me think of that song. Like, it's a whole new world, guys. But I've been prepping for that for forever, and I can shoot fire from my mule. Well, that's not just like, I can shoot fire from my mule. No, we have to practice because it's a longer arrow. There's weight at the end of it. It's basically like I have to learn how to shoot completely like a different
from the
style.
beginning.
Yeah, because it's just different. I mean, it's weighted and longer, and it's on fire, and you're running. But Wisconsin was not able to get the fire approved because not only did they have to get the projectile weapon approved, but then fire on top. It was just too much.
Wow.
So it took me almost I think it took me 6 years to get this finally approved.
Wow.
So talk about prep.
Right.
Oh my gosh. But
yeah. So
tell me, what are some things that you're wanting to what are you wanting to do with your herd? Are you wanting to get bigger? Or are you just wanting to get where you have a waiting list?
Right.
What's your ultimate goal there?
I would like to expand. I just not get huge, because I still want to keep it personal. I still want to be very involved, so I want to be a little bit bigger, but not huge. And, my goal is to always be looking ahead. We try to plan, a year and a half ahead, and always be looking at bulls that will meet the criteria that we're looking for, because we're always wanting to, stay ahead in genetics, or try to be, be in the top, in the genetics as far as, your growth and your docility and your milk. The cows have got to raise that calf. The cows has got to, milk. So there's
they got to do some momming.
They do. They got to do their job as well, So there's a lot of things that we look at when we're looking at bulls to match our cow herd. So and being able to, I'm a certified artificial insemination technician. And I did that for the reason of, one, a friend of mine was like, hey, you'd be really good at that, because I had skinnier arms. So, and
mamas are going to appreciate that.
Right. And I'm like, okay, but I was also interested, I was wanting to do that, but I really didn't know where to look.
I'm sorry, I'm over here about to laugh because somebody be like, dude, you would be so good at artificial insemination. You're like, okay, that's awesome because I got skinny arms. I mean, like, I do appreciate that. I appreciate dentists with little hands.
Right.
If they got to put both of them in my mouth, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm sure there's some
difference.
Well, like a farrier that's shorter. Like, it's just wonderful.
Right.
Different strokes for different folks and for different things that we can excel at.
Right.
So you actually went to school for that.
I did, yeah. And the school I went to, was awesome. They did a really great job. I will never forget. They had the whole cervix and the horns and everything laying out on the table. And I remember grabbing the cervix, and the guy's analogy was like, it feels like a chicken neck. And so raised up on with a big family, we did butcher chickens. And I'm like, that totally is right. I mean, that felt like a chicken neck, the cervix. And that's what you're looking for,
right.
Whenever
you're up in there.
Inseminating.
Well, that's like whenever, okay, so this podcast interview is not for people that are not agriculture. I'm sorry if you're now throwing up, okay? But whenever I clean out my horse's sheath, and I'm trying to explain people, I was like, there's like 2 pockets in there, okay? The first one feels like it's got room for like 2 bedroom, 2 bath. It feels like it's got a lot of room. I was like, then you go through a smaller opening. It's really small in there, okay? And then that's where you got to get a hold of him, all right? And I'm talking about his penis. And so then we can clean out, because horses are not circumcised, so there's like a dirty area right there that you've got to clean out, okay? So, but trying to explain that to people, I'm like, there's 2 pockets and then an opening, you got to find that opening. And they're like, ugh. And they're like, it is big in that first section. And I'm like, yeah. And it's just like a room, that's part of where because they retract, for just like a dog. For the people that don't know horses, horses are like a dog, like they retract and pull back in their body. So it's not just out there. So anyways, yeah, so I could see that like, oh, that cervix feels like a chicken neck. Okay, I've got it now. Now I know what a cervix feels like.
Right.
So,
And it's like, okay, now I know what I'm fishing for, because that's what you're doing is you're basically fishing, for that cervix. And some of them, if it's a heifer, I mean, they can be tiny. I mean, not much bigger than your thumbnail or the tip of your thumb. And then if it's an older cow, I mean, it's like huge,
Okay.
But
this is not good news for a lot of people, okay? They're not liking the word huge, okay? Just established, okay?
Right.
We'll say it's established.
Right, you can definitely find it.
Oh my God! See, that's wonderful things that like right now, if you were a dude, this would be like awkward,
Yeah.
But that's what's awesome about having women in the industry, because then you can talk and you can say things.
Right.
I mean, we can say things and that a guy couldn't say at all, or if he did, my husband would be so red-faced right now. If I was, if you were having this conversation with him, he'd be like, the weather is so nice. The weather's nice. He would be so, humiliated just because. But I love being able to talk real with another female in the ranching industry. So
Yeah.
we have a horse that's about to give birth in the next couple of
Exciting.
weeks. Oh, I'm so excited. So we had to take our horse off of a grass called fescue. Is there anything that you have to look out for during calving season? You ever had to pull any of them? Or
So fescue with the cattle industry, you have to watch. They call it endophyte. So you have to watch out for that.
So tell people what that is.
What endophyte is just it's in the fescue, and it causes heat in the cattle. So if it's bad enough, I mean, you'll have cattle with rough coats. I mean, they can actually lose their feet. I mean, they can lose the switches off their tail. It really
Devastates them.
It is a devastating. And sometimes when people bring in cattle from other states that aren't used to fescue, yeah, it's not good. They're not used to it, so it's really devastating to them.
Okay. Well, and animals are so different. Like if you get cows from South Texas, boy, they are used to the heat, and their ears are bigger, because just like elephants, there's different size ears of elephants, and it's because the bigger they are, the more vessels they are in, and it can help heat leave their body faster. It's a cooling thing. So, like, I'm sure that the cattle, especially changing the foods that they're digesting and all the flora that's in their gut, I mean, I could see just changing the environment and what grasses that an animal's eating. It could devastate it, You got to do gradual changes.
Right, and that's one great thing about our cattle is they're used to the fescue, so then they can go to other states, not a problem.
Right.
But it's the ones coming in, from other states that aren't used to the fescue is more of an issue.
Girl, that just kind of reminds me of like, a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle's not a square. It's kind of like that. Like they can leave, but it's hard for them to come in.
Right.
So if people want to find you, well, hey, they have all sorts of options now because of you going through the coaching and everything. But how's it feel to have a website?
It feels great, and it also feels a little terrifying because I'm not the type of person to be
out there.
You're
out there right now. By the way, this podcast has been downloaded in every state except for Vermont. Screw Vermont, apparently. Okay, I don't like y'all either, apparently, because you won't download my podcast. And then it's been downloaded in over 30 countries.
Wow.
So we're out there right now. But we're only in my office, just you and me, and I got my assistant Becca here, and she's working, and it feels like it's small, but it's not. This is going to get out there.
Yeah.
So, but you're official. You have
thanks to you.
You have a website. Yeah, we spent 2 days. I love the coaching. In the agriculture world, whenever I priced and I was like needing help with all the stuff that I know how to do now, right? All of the social media, the blogs, the websites, the hashtags, the search engine optimization. I mean, it's all this stuff and a lot of people are like, I'm scared to death. I just want to be a farmer. The people that I went and talked to wanted $10,000 per business. I mean, they wanted $10,000 at the time we had a wedding venue, $10,000 for the ranch, and they wanted $10,000 for what I do. And I was like, bro, I'm not spending $30,000. When I was a school teacher and I started teaching, I was making like less than $28,000 a year. And so I'm sorry, but $30,000, and I think about all the work that I did a year in my life, I just couldn't come up off of it. Right. I don't have those profit margins. I don't have anything like that to be spending on that. So, girl, it took me 10 years, but I learned how to do it all, and now I'm wanting to make that affordable for other people. Like for yourself, you have a website now.
I know.
Actually, we have 2. She bought 2 URLs because just in case people messed up, they could still find her. So you actually bought Kuda Ranch and then Kuda Limousin Ranch, but then if they type in Kuda Ranch, it's going to take them to Kuda Limousin Ranch. So Kuda, that name is Russian, right? Yes. It's a Russian list. Do you know, last night, my husband just got a bunch of old paperwork from our ranch, because our ranch has been in the same family since 1906. Wow. He actually found where his great-grandfather became a citizen to the United States. Like, we found that paperwork last night. So do you know what generation your husband is? Is he 3rd, 4th? He's probably 4th or 5th. Who knows?
Yeah.
Somewhere around. My husband's 4th, but his family's a lot older. So I could see somebody being like a 5th generation would probably, his family all waited way late to have kids. There were, even though he's 4th generation, I think most people would have had another generation in there. So,
no, I'm so excited with what you've done. I've known Brandy, like we talked about, for quite a while,
about 10 years almost.
Yeah, and I've seen how much she was growing, and I'm like, okay, I think she's the person I need to talk to get growing. Because I needed to get out there. I needed to get out of my comfort zone.
Well, and you know what? It's not rocket science, but you have got to know, you just got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. You got to know what to post about. You do, and having a website is vital because social media, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter where you're at in the political world. Whoever wins or something, boy, they could take that stuff away real fast. Something bad could happen to Facebook and it could be gone. Something could happen to X, which used to be Twitter, and it could be gone. Instagram could be gone. TikTok could be gone. You cannot put all your eggs in a basket. So we made sure that you have Facebook, you have Instagram, and you have a website. So your website, Kuda, Kuda, okay, Limousin. So make sure when you spell Limousin, it's Limousin. Don't put the E on there because that's the car. Okay, so Limousin and then ranch. So Kuda Limousin Ranch.com. If you can't spell limousine, just do kudaranch.com. And then her Instagram and her Facebook are also Kuda Limousin Ranch. And if you can't find it, if you go to her personal Facebook page, then it shows where she works at, and you can just click on Kuda Limousin Ranch, and it'll take you over to her professional Facebook page. So, all right, so that's it. If they'd like to get in touch with you, they can use your website, they can use your Facebook, they can use your Instagram. And any parting words, any advice for people trying to get into the cattle industry, like being first generation, like what's your parting words of advice?
Parting words of advice is just try to keep your eyes open and look for people that can help you in the areas that you need help in. So I found mentors along the way to help me that were willing to share their knowledge in cattle. And then I knew, they were always pushing, and helping me, get where I wanted to be. And then, the next step was just getting out there. And you just got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. I'm not a fan of it. Nobody is, but you've got to if you want to grow.
Oh my gosh, girl, I love being out of my comfort zone. I don't know. I think that little bit of fear I thrive on it. I love it. I love being a little bit nervous, but then pushing forward. But then even with myself, like we've started a new venture called Country Tough Homesteading. And I'm like, okay, this is a big, we squashed our wedding venue to start doing homesteading classes and to teach people and to bring these experts in. And it's such a beast. I do feel I told you I like to push myself, but I will tell you, even that, I'm like, okay, all right. Whenever I was a school teacher, I used to tell the kids, how do you eat an elephant? And you eat it one bite at a time.
Right.
And so I have to remind myself all the time, if I've got 5,000 things to do one. And then that number doesn't start with 5. It starts with 4,999. So, and if people would like to find me, I'm Brandy Von Holten, and the last name, it's a German last name, and it's VonHolten, Von Holten. And or you can find Von Holten Ranch. We put our last name in it because we wanted to stand behind our products, and that's just like Kuda Limousin Ranch. All right, thank you for tuning in to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holten.